Hello, and welcome to what I believe is now review number 5 on my channel. Just a heads up, as soon as I finish recording this, I have 2 videos planned to do and I would like to get them done. And after that I have an exam coming up in the week, and then I have another exam after that, so reviews may be in short supply. So I'm going to try and get as much done today as I can. But anyway, that's just a heads up. Today, as the title says, I'm reviewing Tron. Tron was quite a surprising film for me to watch because Tron, you must understand, in case you don't, was a gigantic, truly colossal leap forward in filmmaking. It was made in 1984, I think. And it was the first film, I think it is right, it was the first film to encompass live action and CG together in a film. CGI animation in a film. And the biggest positive about Tron is that even nearly 30 years after it was made, if I'm correct, you're still able to look at it and think, wow, I can see this was a big deal, this was a big technical advancement. And that is just one of the many things that's good about Tron. Tron is a really good film. I know some people who watched it before me and considerable time before I did, 10, 15 years ago, probably like it a lot more than I did, but, needless to say, I enjoyed it. The first thing when watching the film I noticed and I liked about it wasn't the CG, but it was the practical sets themselves. Comparing Tron to Tron Legacy, which I haven't seen yet, there's definitely this sort of futuristic, sort of neon style to it, which I really like. I really like that sort of style of doing it. And just the way it's been done with all the lighting and the design, it really sort of helps strengthen the whole futuristic sort of world that it's put it in. I know the film is sort of set in 1984, but what's so impressive and what helps make Tron stand out today is just it was this whole futuristic world that was ahead of its time in the 80s and just still is now, So the sets themselves were really cool. They were really impressive. Now, I suppose I should address the biggest factor about Tron, and that is the CGI. The CGI does look dated. It looks like it was made a long time ago. And that's not a problem. Watching Tron, you learn to appreciate the fact that it was made in the 1984. You learn to appreciate that it was made in 1984, but what they were doing was such a huge step forward. And because it was such a big step forward as far as filmmaking went, even now you can still look at it and think, as much as it looks dated, I'm still impressed by it. You're impressed by what the filmmakers were able to achieve in the film despite the time it was made. I learned, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but production for Tron began in 1976. So if I'm right, that's 8 years of production. And when looking at the film, you sort of think to yourself, wow, at the time this was being made, it probably really did take a long time to make. Other positives I have Tron. Other positives with it I have is Jeff Bridges' character Flynn. Flynn's a cool character. I can understand, why people like him so much. The sort of like the underdog character that's sort of been cheated out of everything, but still the hero and such. He's a cool character. You learn to like with him. I'm sorry. You learn to relate with him and his situation from where he's coming from. But the other way of looking at it is you can't relate to him because he's a professional hacker. If you can be a professional hacker. Like I said, chances are I don't like Tron as much as other people do. Some of the, and they're not big problems. Tron's still a really good film. But for me, the sort of story and the mythos and the sort of the setting and the way that this whole futuristic digital world work out, I didn't really buy it, you know? I mean, I can see from, you know, a fantasy perspective and from like a younger audience than myself's perspective, Tron is probably just this brilliantly cool world, and chances are that's probably why this is a film from a lot of people's childhood that they like. For me, sort of looking at the story and the way the master control program and all that works, I didn't really buy it. I bought it in the same way I buy the fact that you can put someone in the digital control you can put someone into a computer program by shooting a laser at them. I buy it for the film. I wouldn't, if someone told me that you could do that in reality, I wouldn't believe them, but given the fact that Tron is supposed to be a fantasy world, I can buy it. And really the story, and yeah, the story itself is the only real problem I have with the film. Sorry, these videos are completely unscripted, but you know, I think I do a pretty good job. You'll also notice I'm not using the swivel chair. Yeah, I was told by a somewhat reliable source that it was apparently distracting and a little bit sinister, so I have a wooden one instead now. Anyway, really cool. It's not a completely, you know, convincing, but still cool universe and setting. I hate saying this now because I've said it so many times about other films, but it's really cool. I like the use of neon in it, but really cool visual motif. I'm not saying style. Really cool visual motif that goes with it. Is really well done. Also, another thing is, and I'm just going to mention this briefly now because the video is now getting longer than I'd like it to be. One of the things about Tron that I've noticed is the mix of orchestral music, orchestral, yeah, I'm saying that right, and sort of the more synth electronic style. For me, I preferred the orchestral to it. The whole, as an electronic music fan, I've learnt to I understand that the synth style that was going on in Tron is what electronic music was back then, but for me, I didn't really like that as much. And another thing is, and this is a really technical kind of perspective to look at the film as, but the sound design is really well done. You've got a lot of the video game sort of the sound, the retro style, well, what we would call the retro style sound is used in it. That's all really well done and really cool to hear and see in action. Okay, so as I'm now going to try and recap again. Really cool futuristic visual motif. A really cool but not really convincing sort of fantasy world it's set in with the mythos. A good orchestral score, good sound design, nice cool characters. On the basis that I'm not wholly convinced on the story, I can't really give Tron a 5 out of 5, as I'm sure many people would like to. I think about the story and the fact that it's not really a convincing story for it to take place. I'd struggle to give it a 4.5 4.5 out of 5. But it's still a good film, and I feel that 4 out of 5 stars is the perfect score for me to give Tron. So I normally say the star rating and put my hand up to show the star rating in case you're deaf, because I think of everybody when I come to these reviews. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. So yes, this is now a lot longer than I would like it to be. It's going to be a bitch to upload, and I still think I'm recording in 1080p, so it's probably not going to be done until tomorrow. And I still have 2 other videos to record, so expect to see this, if it's the 11th of May now, expect to see this sometime in 2015. Just in time for Star Wars Episode 7. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this review informative, and I hope you enjoyed it, and like I said, thank you for watching. Goodbye.